Chris Adachi. He's an educator, and he is a member of the Convertibles. Hi, Chris.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about that. You're from Hawaii,
Yes.
and you grew up in Hawaii?
Yes, I grew up on the west side of Hawaii, specifically a little town called Nanakuli. And I actually transferred over to a city called Moanalua, where I finished my high school. Went to University of Hawaii, got my bachelor's in music composition. Then I moved out to Los Angeles, which is where we're here right now.
Yeah.
And I got my master's in secondary education.
The thing about Hawaii or any community like that, that's isolated, it seems like you either want to leave a place like that or you have to leave to go further with your life. Was either of those part of you?
You're actually asking that question really carefully, which is awesome. Did I want to leave Hawaii? Of course not. It's Hawaii. It's where I grew up, right? It's where a lot of my friends are. I had to leave because, and want to leave because there are more opportunities out here. Even though you can do a lot in Hawaii, there's a little bit of kind of the same crowd thing happening. And, I kind of feel bad if I wanted to get a job, but I had to take over from another friend's job. And that'd be like, oh, I feel sorry for you. Yeah. But I kind of need to live too. So moving out here, I feel a little bit more openness in the kind of positions that I can get. But in order for me to advance my career, I realized that I needed to have other experiences, even though I had a lot of great experiences in Hawaii, just to advance my career where I want to be. And part of the reason is because of this program that I found called Place Corps. And it's for the best way I can describe it, it is a Teach for America, but for Catholic schools. And it's through Loyola Marymount University. Oh. So once I got accepted, I moved to Los Angeles about 9 years ago. 2011 is when my first classes started. My wife is actually from LA, so I kind of moved out here in a way for her. Okay. So you met her in Hawaii? No, I actually had a quick student exchange program at Cal State Northridge, and we met there. Then I went back to Hawaii, then came back for my master's program, and eventually we got back together and got married. Wow. So you were in your master's program and teaching at the same time? Yeah. At what point did you find the Convertibles? That's actually more recent. Okay. And part of it is one of my first students is actually the baritone saxophone in the Convertibles, Tyler. So how he found out about them, I'm not sure. That's his story. But he called me one day and said, "Hey, Mr. Adachi." Oh, wait, I mean Chris. We're looking for a trumpet player. Would you be interested? And at the time, this is after I moved on from Sarah High School to a smaller charter school up in Somar. And I had a little bit of free time, and I decided, sure, why not? And it's been a blast. And you play trumpet? Oh, yes, I play the trumpet.
I thought I found a love that glittered like gold, a sweet thing, the apple of my eye. Then I saw her driving right out of my life in a brand new silver blue Cadillac. I would have bet my last dollar and a shirt right off my back that our love was a real thing, not just a flash. Not just a flash. 'Cause I've been fooled for the first and the last time.
Was trumpet always your instrument?
No, actually. After a long test in 7th grade with listening, with theory and all that stuff, my teacher actually handed me a French horn and said, try to play into this. And I did, and I had a wonderful tone. And I was going to come home with the French horn the next week. And my mom said the French horn is $400 or something, maybe $200. And she handed me a box and said the trumpet was $50. Here you go.
That's a practical mother. Yeah. You're playing trumpet. So what is that like? How many trumpets are in the band?
There's 2 trumpet players, and what we do is to make it when we have to play much longer sets, because sometimes there's 4-hour sets that we have to do.
Yeah.
That we kind of split up the parts. So sometimes he'll play lead, sometimes I'll play lead, and we'll just try to do that so we can stay as fresh for as long as possible.
Yeah, because the trumpet is it's a difficult instrument, right? It doesn't look like a lot of work, but it's a lot of work.
If you do it right, it looks like you're doing nothing at all.
Yeah, right. What is it about the trumpet that is so much work?
A lot of it comes from the embouchure and the pressure that you put on your embouchure. And one thing about trumpet playing is you want to try to put the least amount of pressure on that as possible, so you can last longer. And from bad habits, when you start, if you didn't have really attentive teachers, sometimes you would develop these bad habits that would contribute to you playing able less and less. Fortunately, I have really good teachers, but still some habits are just from your own mind games, right?
Right.
So, and especially as you try to play higher in the registers, there's more back pressure and there's more mind tricks that your brain is telling you to do one thing, but that's not how it works.
Right. The lip muscle. That never gets toned, right? You always have to keep practicing so you can keep your embouchure, right?
Yes. And there's a great quote. Unfortunately, I'm bad with naming people, so please forgive me for this. But it's from a violin player. 1 day of rest, I notice. 2 days of rest, my audience notice. 3 days, the critics notice.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's being able to keep that embouchure, even if it's a little bit, like I tell my students, 15 minutes a day is worth more than an hour 1 day a week.
Yeah. Well, listen, I have to say, what I've heard and what I've seen of the Convertibles is incredible. It's fun. There's a lot of energy that you guys are putting out there, and I know that the audiences just love it. I hope you. I know you're a busy, with all your students and all your other activities and bands. And I really hope you stick with the Convertibles, because you add a lot to the band. You add a lot to just the energy that's happening coming off the stage, and you're a great guy.
Thank you.
And you're a nice guy. So I hope you stick with it, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.